Morning, everybody. It's the 15th of July. We're Signal Centre talking ball. I'm Joe Neighbour, joined by Steve O'Hare. Good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
All good?
Yes, all good here. Nice and sunny outside, so
Yes, that time.
yeah, lovely.
Hopefully, I think we're in for a nice weekend.
Yeah, should be. I mean, we deserve it. And the pain of Sunday night is wearing off.
Yeah, the fog is clearing. Yeah, cool. Right, let's crack on then. So, big numbers out of the UK yesterday. UK inflation leaped more than expected in June. Bank of England Deputy Governor Dave Ramsden estimated the reading may peak around 4%, which is double the targeted level in the UK, indicating that monetary policy may need tightening. So it appears as though we've seen a bit of reaction in indices off the back of that, which we'll come on to shortly when we run through the charts. In terms of what's going on elsewhere, we've got the Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell. He had a congressional hearing yesterday. He said it was too soon to scale back the central bank's aggressive support for the US economy, which helped keep prices elevated yesterday, certainly in the US side of things. He does face his semi-annual testimony today. And that's before President Joe Biden decides whether or not to give him another 4 years at the head of the at the helm of the Fed.
Easy for you to say.
Or whether or not he's going to pick someone else. So he faces a Senate backing panel today. Angela Merkel's on her way to the US to visit Joe Biden. That's her first trip to do so. And in terms of what's going on with OPEC, the standoff among the OPEC Plus members is edging towards a resolution as the United Arab Emirates near a compromise that could give it more generous output limits next year and allow the whole group to pump more oil in the coming months. So again, we'll come on to the charts shortly on that and what it means. In fact, Steve, we can dive in right now because that's pretty much it on the news front. I'll talk about what's ahead at the end of the video.
Lovely.
So where do you want to start today?
Yeah, I'll start with indices today. We are, close to sort of like yearly highs and some all-time highs and others. And we are getting a little bit of a reaction after the last couple of days. We're seeing price action move lower. Actually, 1 hour chart's not a great one to watch. 4 hour chart, we saw this. This was on the 13th of July. So we've got a nice downward trending resistance line. And yeah, it's the FTSE is forming a little bit of a head and shoulders formation. It's not a great head and shoulders overall because normally you'd see a much steeper rally into it, but potential, that's the sort of formation shape that we always look for, and they do quite often play out. So if we do get a break below 70.60, then I think this could continue lower. On the DAX, we've seen quite an aggressive sell-off in the last hour or so from 8 o'clock, and this is looking pretty negative after. And again, it sort of stalled just around about the swing highs that we were talking about. Bearish, well, sort of sideways formation like we've talked about for a couple of days now. Like we said a couple of days ago, I went short on this and it didn't move at all, and this move has happened obviously in the last hour. So yeah, it looks pretty toppy to say the least. On the daily chart, you're getting these hanging man candles here, and really if we do get an extended move lower and a break of this cloud and the swing lows, 15,278 they're coming in at. I know it's a bit of a way off at the moment, but just watch that over the next couple of days because that will result in a double top, which will be a pretty decent measured move as well. If we do get a break of that neckline, the measured move target would be in and around about 14,550. Obviously we've got this trend line here coming in, and we've got this horizontal resistance which might marry up with that. Sorry, horizontal support coming in here. So moving on, Dow Jones, again we look to have formed a little bit of a top doji yesterday following a bearish day the day before, and negative start to this morning. Again, this could be a triple top in some respects. If we see a break of 34,113, then that would be negative, because that would be almost a double top here. And then we'd look at the next neckline here, 33,248, which would be that sort of double top, almost a treble top. But the real line of support comes in at 33,000. Let's color it in blue so we show support. And that a break there would be an aggressive move lower. That would be, again, looking to see the extended move. This is how we measure it, from the top to the neckline, looking for a move to 31,000. So that's a pretty chunky one. Obviously, we've got the Fed will be battling against us and trying to support this market. But the NASDAQ as well, two shooting stars. Although the previous one was maybe a doji, but we've had two highs on the same day. Consecutive days around about the same level, 15,000. Obviously, we always see these psychological numbers, the big round numbers, and it's held really well. Still a little bit supported at the moment, but we've got this trend line below. So I think if we do get a break of this trend line, which comes in at 14,725, so it's still a fair chunk away, 200 points away, and we also get a break of the 14,550 swing low, then I could see a minor correction. I'll only say minor in NASDAQ. Don't like to sort of say hope for anything more than that. Again, in a similar way to the Dow, the S&P has formed a couple of similar highs on consecutive days, just below the 44,000. Again, big round number. These round numbers are very important. Going back to China 50, this is the one I believe will lead the way lower. And again, we're still sitting above this 16,500 level, just reacted off it just now. But I feel that once we do get a break and a close below that level, that we'll be closing at the lowest level since November last year. That would be very, very negative indeed for me, and maybe drag the other indices kicking and screaming downwards. The Nikkei looking negative also. The Ichimoku cloud has provided some resistance, and it's extending lower as we speak. So yeah, going back to the DAX, that's the sort of fancied one at the moment. That looks pretty aggressive on the downside. Let's look at commodities. And oil had a bit of a reversal. And we can see yesterday was a pretty outstanding negative bar. Bearish outside candle, completely engulfing the previous day's price action. Actually, maybe it just about, we can call it an engulfing candle, maybe not outside, but the high might be a bit higher the day before. But anyway, follow through negative on the back of that as well. And 70.20 swing low and the sort of $70 support seemed like a long way off a couple of days ago. We were sort of looked like we were heading back towards this sort of 76.35 level, but it sort of brings back the chart that I've been harping on about, much to everyone's pain. It is potentially the end of the fifth wave impulsive move higher, and this on a weekly chart we had hanging man candle, and this is being confirmed this week. So if we do get a close below $70 on Friday, then I certainly do expect this ABC pattern to play out. So that'll be something exciting to watch over the coming days. Gold, this seems to be sort of taking the sort of like the brunt of the money that's flying out of the equity markets, a little bit of safe haven drive, and pushing up towards the 1845 resistance level that we've been talking about. We were in this channel, and I was saying that really targeting a break of the 1818 level, and we've done that in, well, yesterday, in fact, around about 10 o'clock yesterday, between 10 and 2 yesterday, we saw the break higher, and it's extended higher this morning. So definitely signs of positive impetus coming in to gold. Let's take a look at cryptos and see how that's hanging on by its fingernails. Bitcoin, I did a gun-to-head short on this yesterday, got taken out. And on the 4-hour chart, we've had this reaction higher, but hasn't managed to break above the 33,000. In fact, the level of resistance was 33,340 and stalled just below that with a few shooting star candles. And now we've got a little bit of follow through. So I think as well, like I've said before, Bitcoin could sort of like move lower with equities. So I think we're going to see that today as well. So yeah, that pretty much wraps it up my side of things.
Nice, thank you, Steve. Okay, let's get stuck into some FX then. So this is the dollar index, and yesterday we saw a little bit of a setback. I guess that was on the back of Powell's comments saying that he's going to keep fiscal policy looser for longer. So as a result, we saw probably a bit of tick up in equity markets as a result, and a little bit of a drift lower in dollar index, but it's still sort of looking pretty good, pretty robust. I think we've got maybe an upward sort of pointing flag forming here. Maybe I don't know how common they are, or if that's got a bias to break higher or lower really, but I fancy it higher if I'm honest. This is the daily chart. Having broken out of this channel, I think there is room for a correction to the upside, particularly if we get above this 93.43 level, because that confirms a really nice double bottom pattern on the longer term chart. So still of the opinion that the dollar index is going to move higher. The next level of resistance I've got is at 93.02, and then above that we've got this 93.43 level. On the support side, looking for dips towards sort of 92.10 to be contained, to be honest, and I think that could present opportunities to buy. If we look elsewhere at other pairs, euro dollar bounced again from this neckline that we've got drawn on the daily chart. It's a head and shoulders top that I've got here. Hasn't completed it yet, needs to close below 117.81 to really confirm that, and then ideally for an additional level of confirmation below 117.04. But trying to defend that, volumes have slipped a little bit, so I don't know how much longer really the bulls can put up with that before they have to sort of give up and capitulate. So we'll have to wait and see. Looking at some of the other assets that I follow, I really like the look of what's going on here. Big top pattern formed on Aussie yen. Yen really starting to strengthen up a bit again. Maybe further evidence of money moving into safer haven plays, and I would consider yen as one of those. So we saw the breakdown here quite convincingly on this impulsive move to the downside. We did have an attempt at breaking back above, but it seems to have stored in and around this zone of resistance that we've now formed, and we're starting to dip lower. So I fancy that to continue moving lower, and we'll be looking to sell rallies in Aussie yen in the short term. Euro sterling is quite interested. This has been pretty poor all in all, but if you see this sort of gradual drift down, we do appear to have found some support around here, which I think is also an 88.6% fib level. So seem to have formed a bit of a short-term reversal, been backed up today by further gains. So potentially there is some opportunities for a bit of a bounce in that in the short term. I think it will be contained, but maybe what we're seeing is some sort of bottom pattern form here, rounding of the price action, maybe a double bottom, in the early stages of that. So keeping an eye on that one from the speculative side of things. Euro yen is another example of yen strengthening up. We've seen the break of this channel. We saw a move down here initially off the back of the channel down to 130.02. We saw a decent recovery back up to retest the broken channel, which was met with sellers, and now we've seen it push again back down to test these support levels here, and it's getting another going over today. So I think if we see the lows taken out from the 8th of July, then we're really going to start to see this pick up a bit of steam on the downside. So I think that looks like a good opportunity on the short side. And a similar situation on sterling yen, rounding sort of price action that's taken place over the last few weeks or so. Support now has formed at this 150.131 level. We did overshoot it a couple of days ago before bouncing back quite nicely, but we're getting very close to that level again. If that gets taken out, then again, lots of fresh space for this to run into on the downside. So quite like the looks of that. And then finally, just while we're on the yen theme, This is dollar yen, which has broken out of this decent uptrend. We saw a push to the downside, retest of the underside, and now we are fading again and moving lower. So looks to me as though this is going to continue moving lower over the short to medium term. That's it on the FX front.
Nice one.
On the gun to the head side of things, as you mentioned, Steve, you got stopped out on Bitcoin yesterday. And I made 14 ticks on New Zealand dollar, Japanese yen. So, that has been my theme the last couple of days, buying yen essentially and selling anything against it. And made 0.35R, so nothing spectacular, but I'll take the win. Steve, anything you fancy today? If I was to put a gun to your head, where would you be putting your money?
Choosing really between either Bitcoin, selling Bitcoin. Sorry, all you very clever investors out there who know it's the thing of the future. That's the sort of thing I'd be going for. Looking really for a break. Prefer to sell it maybe if it broke 31,500. That would sort of confirm the negative momentum. That's what I would go for. Choice between that and DAX really. DAX, I know it's got off to a bit of a flyer to the downside. So it's a pretty tough one. It's a bit more wishful thinking for DAX.
This gun's going to go off soon, mate.
Oh, sugar. There we go. As that 4-to-1 risk reward, selling DAX here, stopping it out at 15,684. No, that's where I'm getting short. 15,684, stopping out at 15,784, targeting 15,284, just in front of this support from down here. Seems obvious now.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'll be saying that tomorrow.
Yeah, I hope so too. Okay, I'm going to take a look at Aussie yen, keeping this theme going of playing yen at the moment on the long side, but in this instance going short because obviously Aussie is the front currency in the pair. So I'm going to sell it at 82.00, bang on the nose. Stop loss at 82.38, and going to target a move down to this level here at 80.64. You have to go some way back to find out why that is a support level, but as you can see there, right on the left-hand side, we've got what was a resistance, broke through, then held a support. So I'm thinking that could potentially do a job again. So yeah, that will do for me.
Nice one.
Looking
well done,
for
mate.
what, 3.7R?
That'll do.
Yes, it will. Hopefully, we both have a good outcome on our trades tomorrow. Right, so what are we looking for today? We've got more earnings coming out. We have updates from Rio Tinto, Experian and Just Eat in the UK, which are all done and dusted. And then later on today, we have Morgan Stanley, United Health and Alcoa, the big aluminium producer. They're the standout earnings for today. What else? So US employment claims at 1:30. We've also got Empire State and Philadelphia manufacturing numbers as well, all out at 1:30. So a cluster of data then. Obviously, we've got the earnings thrown in the mix as well. So plenty for us to get stuck into.
Brilliant.
Anything else, Steve?
Just to quickly show you a bit of a thing that we look at maybe.
Go on.
So new sentiment in gold has picked up, and we got a little alert a few days ago which had 70% confidence. Obviously, these alerts come out, and we can see daily news sentiment is moving higher, and it's 70% of the last 10 occurrences has prices risen within 4 days. So this is what came out on the 12th, and you can see this little chevron here pointing the way higher, and then price follows. New sentiment higher, price follows. So you do get divergence and convergence in these sort of new sentiment against price. Something really nice that we're looking at, which assists us with our daily calls. Just let people know.
Nice one.
Tease them with it. I'm just teasing you.
Yeah, cool. All right. Right, well, good luck, everybody. If you're trading today, we'll be back tomorrow morning. And until then, trade safe.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.